So just let us drop in by simply sensing the weight of our body on the cushion, on the chair, on the couch, wherever you're sitting. And noticing, what you are bringing to this meeting today, a sense of heaviness in the heart, or curiosity, or a mix of both. And just really becoming present with that. And, really rejoicing in your willingness to participate in these unfoldings more consciously, rather than just trying to blame somebody else. And there is a lot of craziness happening, which we all know, but it's not gonna last forever. It's just gonna go really high and then bang, falls apart, and it cannot sustain itself. It's completely disconnected from reality. Feeling what is there, and then taking in the community. We are all together in this. Maybe you want to open your eyes and just see all of the people here. And really allow that in, even might be a bit strange, but really allow that to land in us. We are not alone with this. Last week I have said that, being able to hold grief and gratitude simultaneously is a sign of adulthood. To have that capacity to allow ourselves to be stretched larger by these two qualities matures us and allows us to participate rather than trying to get away from what's happening and hope somebody else is going to take care of it. Some president or something like that. And it's obviously not working, that's clear. Because if we hold only one of those two qualities, we are in trouble. Only grief makes us really bitter. And only gratitude, we lack depth of compassion and understanding, because we need both. because there is, I'm sure that brings us all here, this a feeling of descent, sense of heading down into the darkness. And I've also written about that in my recent newsletter. This feeling, that we have left familiar territory and that we are collectively going deeper into uncertainty and not knowing. Not knowing what's happening. Why something so absurd is taking place, particularly in America. And also, noticing with the fires in LA in particular, and all of the other environmental emergencies, that the earth herself is taking us down where we need to go. Because there is this appropriate time, for darkness, when everything doesn't really work anymore. It has to come down. It has to be composted. It has to fall apart before any kind of renewal could happen again. Because there are certain things which can only happen in the darkness. And we are not without medicine, to go through this process, as our species and the whole planet as a living system has been going through many, many times before. And to really remember that we belong to a robust, ancient lineage. And we have what we need to go through yet another transition. We have that. And we have each other. We need to do it together. To collectively reimagining what a living culture can look like. At the same time, as the old paradigm is crumbling all around us. So we need a new and imaginal encounter with the earth as a living, intelligent being. And that's what we try, to cultivate here in these earthworm online gatherings. This capacity for imagination and for expanding perception. And using the Buddha's teaching as a scaffolding, to do this work. The Buddha's teaching on the mind and on the heart. And, getting in touch or attuning to the earth herself, who is constantly transmitting to us information through eating, drinking, breathing, and also listening, conscious listening. That's what we are doing here together. And also we are breathing, I suppose. So doing this together very intentionally in a dedicated, intentional space like this, online space, but also, for example, the Earth Room where I'm sitting in right now is also an intentional space, an installation created to support that imaginal attuning. Because it's our job, to become receptive to what is being said. And as children, we have all been encouraged to use our imagination. And then as we get older, we tend to lose it and leave imagination behind, emphasizing logic and rational thinking. And in that way, we slowly disconnect from this natural ability for creativity. So it's not a lack of data, but a matter of relationship, of reverence and devotion to something so awesome and so much vaster than what the thinking mind can handle, and the thinking mind simply has to give up and step aside. And that's what we try to cultivate. Not, to completely let go of the thinking mind. We need the thinking mind, but the thinking mind can't lead. The thinking mind can act on what is being, received by stepping into this attunement to the transmission of what is being communicated to us by the earth as a living intelligent process of which we are a participant. And we can become a conscious participant. And that's what we are trying to do here. Maybe doing is not the right word. That's what we are trying to step into by expanding perception and attuning. And, we start by getting really grounded and quiet in the mind and the heart, and being fully here in the body, in the moment. And by being fully here, we can hear, we can listen and receive information from the earth herself. By simply, having these earth bodies, which are made from the same stuff as the body of the earth. That's our line of communication. And there's a really beautiful example for this. It comes to us from the Inuit people. They have a concept for that, listening in the darkness. And it's called Gvatseluni. And that means sitting quietly together in the darkness, waiting expectantly for something creative to burst forth. Sitting quietly together in the darkness, waiting expectantly for something creative to burst forth. And that's really a beautiful metaphor for where we are as a human global community. We need to get quiet long enough to hear the earth speaking, what she's saying, what she wants from us. And we can come back to this because we are all indigenous to this planet. Even our, indigenous ancestors are quite far down in the past, but we have that in us. We have that capacity in us, and we can remember it, bring it together again, and do it as a community. To become really human again. And the word, human in the literal sense actually means made from earth. It has the same root as the word humus. Human, made from earth, earthlings or earth beings as opposed to gods. And some of us, they try to be gods and go to Mars or go to here, go to there, not wanting to be concerned with the messiness of the earthiness of being human. But that's where the opportunity lies for us to truly, humbly reconnect humility, humus, human, to come down back to the earth and open up communication through reverence and devotion and simple rituals and the whole skillful means, which have been used over the millennia by humans. And our civilization has forgotten that because we have been quite one-sidedly tried to become gods in a way. And now there's a big wall and say, no, go back. Go back and remember who you really are, made from earth. And then just simply paying attention to all of this enough so that we can receive again. So let's do that together, these life-giving rituals. We can do them online as we are doing them here. I always, have a stone when I teach. So maybe next time, if you like, you could bring a stone of your choice. This is a crystal which was given to me by an indigenous woman who lives in San Francisco. And it really is very helpful, to have this direct understanding of gravity, earthiness, and grounding. So using imagination as a skillful means for connecting. And for example, in the Vajrayana tradition of Tibetan Buddhism, imagination is used a lot in visualization of different deities, different qualities. It's that same technology, which we are using, but in a much simpler way and in a different way, because that tradition is deeply steeped in patriarchy. And all of the deities have no clothes on. Some people say that was sacred pornography, which comes to us, from the Middle Ages. Some of them are really beautiful and powerful, but let's just use the technology in a different way. So let's settle in to the meditation. Sensing the gravity gently showing us where we belong. And allowing the breath to take us into the body. So breath, wind element, takes us in and helps us to get in touch with ourselves. And sensing the aliveness which the wind element brings with every breath. It emphasizes the aliveness of the other elements in the body, the earth element, which is heavy and stands for structure, the bones, the skeleton, the teeth, and the stone in my hand. And the water element in the flesh of the body, and the bloodstream in the mouth. The water element standing for flow and cohesion, holding it all together. And the fire element, the temperature, coming to us from the center of the planet and also, of course, from the sun, the closest star. Without the sun, the earth wouldn't be alive like this. There's a constant exchange between the sun and the earth, also the moon, and the influences of the heavenly bodies. And if we start, thinking about it with the intellect, it's all too much. It's a complete tangle, but we can sense into it. And then we sense that aliveness, which is a coming together of all of this input. And then here we are in these bodies, which have emerged from the input of all of these forces, the natural forces, who have come together as the biosphere of this planet. And then over deep time, many, many different life forms have emerged, and us being one of the youngest ones, maybe the youngest one, and most immature one in terms of understanding the deep interdependence, or interbeing, as Thich Nhat Hanh has called it so beautifully. And now we are getting a powerful lesson from the earth herself, as she is taking us down from these attempts to become gods, to fly all over the place. And now we have gotten too close to the sun, and our wings have fallen apart, like Icarus. I don't know quite sure how you say it in English, but in German you say Icarus, who got too close to the sun, and then the wax of his wings started to melt and he fell down. And that's what's happening to our culture. We have moved too far away from the ground and forgotten who we are, that we are earthlings, earth beings. And now we just turn towards that information and allow the transformation to happen naturally. It's all coming from the biosphere, water deep hidden in the earth, fire, the center of the earth and the sun. And oxygen, the breath coming to us from the trees. And having been, going through the process of recycling since millions of years, and who knows who has been drinking this water before us, who knows who has been breathing this oxygen before us. Could be a dinosaur or Napoleon or who knows. And if we're allowing that to become conscious, everything starts to open up, expand. And we are able to see the bigger picture. And that's the only medicine which can really help. To bring a measure of equanimity, equipoise. In the face of what's happening. Because it's not going to become easier, I don't think. That's how it looks like, at the threshold of paradigms falling apart and a lot of people not wanting to know about it. Because there's fear and maybe no scaffolding they can trust in enough to let go of the past. So there's this desperate holding on to the past, but it's destined to not work. That's what we are seeing right now, in particular in the US, but all around the globe, particularly also in Europe, in Austria, is definitely the same thing happening. Just a bit of a smaller version of it. But at the core, it's the same aversion to change. The fear of change. And it is scary, but we can't win. We can't nail evolutionary movement down to say it's just stopping here. It's impossible. We all know this. It's the sense of heading down, And who wants to head in the darkness? Nobody. But if you don't have a choice, then okay, you work together with others and learn from the Inuit, who live in darkness a lot of the year. There's 24 hours darkness for a few months in the year. And they have really learned how to handle it. There's so much we can learn from our indigenous brothers and sisters who are closer, to that memory, which we have lost, but we can reawaken it. We can totally remember it. Just take some willingness to train. And that's what we are doing here. And, using the Buddha's teaching as a support for it. Getting in touch with that aliveness throughout the whole body and listening into it. with the whole body as an organ of listening. Like a receptor. And it's a bit of an odd assumption, that the body could be that. But try it out for yourself, and what sense do you get? And trust that. Not because I'm saying it, but because what's the intuitive response of the whole body? Is there a sense of yes or not? Or at least like a sense of opening. It could be ever so faint only, and then just making the experiment and trusting it in a neutral way, okay, just try it out, give it a try. Suspending disbelief just for the duration of the sit. And you can also, do this practice at other occasions by going to a beautiful spot in nature, a rock, a tree, a lake, whatever calls you, and sitting with that being, that entity. So it can be done, more with one being, or also just opening to limitless space. The timeless dimension beyond the planet even. The power of the stars, the cosmos. Because the earth is a child of the cosmos, we can say. Just like we are a child of the earth. And on the in-breath, we can feel the root system which grounds us in the earth. And with the out-breath, the vastness of the cosmos beyond us. And these human bodies are receptors, are a bridge between these two dimensions, in particular the heart, the chitta. And if you like, you can put your hand there. The heart is the nexus point between those two dimensions. And the heart, is the house of this very deep intelligence which knows what your contribution is at this time. And that will become clearer, as you are practicing in this way. Your calling, your medicine, your unique contribution. Sensing into that without any pressure, no rushing. It takes the time it takes. And that's our inner activism, the courage to sense into that. While we are fully rooted in the web of life, the earth, where these bodies have emerged from, and the cosmos, which is a living being which is in constant movement, evolving as we are sitting here. So that's the soil, from which our outer activism emerges. And if we can use our imagination in this way, if we can allow ourselves to open up in this way, we can receive the instructions of the earth. And the earth doesn't speak in words, or sometimes maybe she does for some, but it's more speaking more in images, imagination, intuition. But then if we stay with the process, it has its own intelligence. And it truly emerges through us, through being able to stay and hold steady with the not knowing, with the fear, with the excitement, confusion, all of it. That's what we need the Buddhist practice for. So we can hold steady with these evolutionary ongoings here. And not regress into all kinds of polarization and conspiracy theories and all the rest of it. And it's not easy, but that's what we can do. Especially if we are having support of the group and community. So having faith in our own heart, even if it's broken and has scars, but that's what makes the heart bigger, so it can receive more of life. And for the benefit of all sentient beings, in particular for future generations, for the young ones. So there's a real urge, to evolve, to become a participant, a conscious participant in what's happening, so we can support future generations and the young ones who are already here. They have our backing. For what needs to be met. And sensing into this aliveness, which always knows what to do next, and has done so since 4.6 billion years and longer. On this planet it's 4.6. And we have this robust lineage as a Homo sapiens, and also through being inheritors of the Buddha's teaching, heirs of the Buddha's teaching. Weaving together these two lineages. It's a very good baseline, to start from. The sensitivity of the human body and the human mind, and the wisdom teachings of the Buddha. So we can handle that biocomputer well. and ultimately, leading to the complete dissolution of it. But on the way, doing good and being of benefit to others. That's a pretty, good package to start with. And to remember, that's what we have got. We are not without medicine. We are not victims. And even if, we would die in one of those disasters, if you're not fully awakened, you'll come back. Or at least that's, what is part of the Buddha's teaching on rebirth. We've got all the time we need. And as we are slowly coming to the end of the meditation, I'd just like to offer a short chant, which is an ancient Buddhist chant to invite all the benevolent forces of the universe to pay witness of our practice and invite the data flow, invite the transmission to come to us, so we'll know better how we can be participants of the process for the benefit of ourselves and of all sentient beings. Paritavana metang sameta badanta avikita citta paritang banantu samantra chakravalesu atragachantu devata Satamang munirachasa sunantu sakamokadang Sakekame charupe girisikaраtate chantalike vimane Diperate chakame daruvana kahane gehavatumikete Pumma chayantu deva chalatala visame yakaganta panaka Didanta santike yang munivaravachanang Sadavo me sunantu Buddha dasanakalo ayang padanta Dhamma savanakalo ayang padanta Sangha parirupa sanakalo ayang padanta. May you have every good blessing, may all the devas protect you, by the power of all the Buddhas, may you ever be well. May you have every good blessing, may all the devas protect you, by the power of all the Dhamma, may you ever be well. May you have every good blessing, may all the devas protect you, by the power of all the Sangha, may you ever be well. And letting go of everything which is known and becoming aware of that which knows. Consciously being aware. The refuge in Buddha, awareness, the capacity for effortless knowing. It can be compared to the capacity of a mirror to reflect whatever is brought in front of it. And taking refuge in that knowing, Buddha or awakening. Rather than losing ourselves in what is known, the good and the bad. The pleasant and the unpleasant. Staying in that openness and allowing emergence to guide us through this bottleneck, which might take quite a long time.